Welcome to another episode of Running with the Devils, our Daredevil show. I am Dan, Comic Shop News. Obviously, you know because you're on the channel. And my co-host, Brandon, Comix Kings, who had a ton of creator interviews this past week. Tell them about it.
Yeah, so I'm Brandon, everybody. What's up? Thank you guys so much for the support of the show. This is episode 2, which I'm really excited to get into. I know this is something that Dan and I have been planning on for a while. But yeah, the interviews that I've had over the past week, oh my gosh. Last Saturday, I had Marcus Toe on, who's the artist on Excalibur. That was a lot of fun. And then on last Wednesday, so what was it, the 12th? Something. It was, the 12th. I had Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad on, and that was phenomenal. They're the creative team on Wonder Woman, and we are also collabing to do a giveaway with them of some signed Wonder Woman comics. So 3 lucky winners will win a signed copy of Wonder Woman 770, which is really cool. And then yesterday, I was on with Will Spertasio, who is the creator of Bishop. This guy right over here, you guys all know and love Bishop. Also, one of the co-founders of Image Comics. So that was honestly, it was the best time. It was the best time.
Also, quietly, he's one of Jim Lee's hidden ghost artists.
Yeah, he's one of Jim Lee's ghost artists. But I know Will's drew a lot of the ghost. Oh my gosh, he drew a lot of the X-Men. But yeah, definitely check that out. I'm plugging it everywhere because it was a fantastic interview, and it was honestly I can't even speak on how great it was just to like sit down and talk to somebody like that, and just to you don't even have those conversations with people a lot in the community. So the fact that it was him, it was phenomenal. We pitched an X-Men book that's kind of cool, and he also gave a very open invitation to come back on the show. And then off stream, he said that he would come back with Jim Lee, but that's okay. So it was definitely like the best time I've had in a while. So definitely go stream it. I think everyone here has already seen it so far. What's up, Unruly Simeon, and V's always here. So I'm very excited with what's to come, and I have Philip Kennedy Johnson coming on. Not this Wednesday, but the following after the release of Alien #3.
Last God, one of the most slept on books. It's fucking amazing.
Yes, with all of Dan's voice cracks. It's great. It's great.
And Riccardo Federici on art, which if you're buying the Batman variants right now, like that he's doing the 1 in 25s, insanely good artist.
Those are very hit or miss for me, but
the Miracle Molly one was awesome.
The Miracle Molly one was great, but the Punchline one, I was like, you really made her cheeks out to be like so mushy.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm gonna fight bitches to win the FYI. V, I love you to death, girl, but if you're gonna fight people, then I hope one of them's Dan.
You won't have to. I'll just submit and take my beating.
There you go.
So, the show is bi-weekly, and it'll be switching channels every week in case this is your first time tuning in. The first episode is on Brandon's channel, which you can go back and find. And I will have a playlist on this channel for everything that appears on this channel. So in 2 weeks, we'll be on Brandon's channel. So just a little shopkeeping on that.
Right, and we will be talking about the next volume of Frank Millage, which is the much better volume, because that was when he wrote Andrew. She says Dan isn't bitches. Yep. So you're not going to fight Dan. I won't tell Sheena you're coming for her then.
So, on the reread of this, it's been a while actually since I've picked this up and read it. Doesn't really hit my rereads that often because like Dark Knight Returns and stuff like that usually does in year 1. Right. What were your thoughts like going back to this?
Going back at it, I honestly like you compare. It was a while for me, I think I haven't touched this in about a year and a half. So like that was and I hate to like say this, and I hate to say this about myself. I read the Dark Knight Returns, the Dark Knight series for the first time in between this reread and the other one. Also, I've read a lot of Frank Miller stuff that is much different than this.
Yes.
So going back to this art style, I was like, this guy is a master of space in 1984, but I don't know what he's doing since with his art style, but this was
I feel like he
phenomenal.
wanted to become more of a cartoonist, and he probably figured out that it's quicker for him to draw and hit deadlines doing the other way. I'm not 100% sure. I know he's had health problems since and substance abuse issues.
Right. Well, the other thing you got to understand is Marvel has like a very clean way of drawing their books. And I think this is like what they wanted from him, you know, but then you also go out and adventurize what he wanted to do when he had like full reins, you know. But this format is very much like Sin City, though.
Little
or not
bit.
Sin City, Ronin.
The tight line work and like this was, I think, his first start of the collaboration with Klaus Janson, which, I mean, they've been together for 35, 40 years on and off.
Oh, yeah. Klaus Janson. He signed it. But yeah, their collaboration has been going on for years, and I think it's one of the most historic in comics. I think it's one of the most underrated, yet one of the most historic. Just because of how they're able to really capture all the line works in Hell's Kitchen. And Frank Miller is really a master at space. Before I did do this reread at Baltimore Comic Con, Jim Lee said that like one of his biggest inspirations was Frank Miller's line work in Daredevil and how he was able to master space. And rereading this is very much to that compliment.
Also had kind of a frenetic art style back then as well. Also, he wasn't writing at this point in the first couple of issues. I don't think he started taking over the writing till a little bit further in. Okay.
He didn't start the writing until 168, till the first Elektra. Yes, he was a youngster in Daredevil. And
yes,
and
they
what
called
this
him
book,
Lanky.
right, and what this book did is Daredevil wasn't selling before Frank Miller came on this book. Right? You got to imagine, right? This and Uncanny X-Men really hit their relaunch.
Yes, because Neil Adams was doing Uncanny and it wasn't doing well, and then Claremont and Dave Cockrum took over and introduced the new team. And
right. Well, Neil Adams I think George Tuska was the filler artist after Neil Adams' tenure because he was only on for, I think, until like the issues in the 70s. But after that, Neil Adams, he left to go back to DC, and then you had this, and this book was published bi-monthly. When Frank Miller came on the book, it turned into a monthly series, right? And that's just to speak to how incredible Frank Miller is. You know, not only in meeting deadlines, which he can't do today to save his life, but how much the commitment was for this book, you know, and how incredible this book made a full 180. You know, it's everything you would want to see in a film, right? You have ninjas, you got some romance going on, you have more ninjas, and you have a lot of like dark alley action scenes that Frank Miller brought to Daredevil.
And I think like people like to shit on Miller a lot now, and some of it's well deserved. He's done and said some stuff that, you know, deserves the ire he gets, but I don't think people understand how influential and how important he was when he came on the scene.
Right. And it's almost like the more you're in this industry, the more backlash you're going to have. Like, you know, we can shit on Brian Michael Bendis too, but you can't take away everything he did for the Marvel Universe, no matter how bad his Justice League or Superman is.
Well, like shitting on Jack Kirby, I remember was a thing for a while.
Are you retconning like what I did on the PCP thing?
No. This is stuff that like as I've been growing up. No, like literally, and then like I went and learned like Kirby was doing 8 pages a day, which is insane.
That's crazy, but Kirby just didn't know how to draw faces. Every face looks the same.
Yeah, they're his face.
Yeah.
Just
every face
was
like, yeah. Like, but that doesn't take away from Kirby's legacy in the comic medium at all. It's just
definitely not at all.
Or the fact that he took Eternals or took New Gods and turned it into the Eternals. But we're not here to talk about. We're not here to talk about Jack Kirby.
So,
we're here to talk about Daredevil.
Daredevil 158. We're gonna start out there. Starts out right away with Black Widow, like looking like she just got decked.
Yeah, and this part of the book is really they're pushing the Black Widow storyline because they're trying to wrap this up. Roger McKenzie is going to leave this book soon, and they're just trying to wrap everything up in a way that's leading into the next, almost like you're passing the torch. So this Black Widow story was honestly like really cool, especially because going into this issue, you don't need to know anything prior. You can start at 158.
Yeah. It also like fills in the blanks about the villain of the book too, about like why he's mad at Daredevil, which was kind of nice. It's like they knew that like this was a jumping on point.
Right, 100%. And this is literally everything you want from this issue. You're introduced to a brand new artist, and this villain, what's his name? Is like
Deathstalker.
Deathstalker. It is not easy to draw. Props to Klaus Janson, who did the ink. And we're seeing like all these different angles that we have not seen before in this Daredevil run. He wants to kill Daredevil because every villain in this book really does. That's their main goal.
But he had a reason for vengeance.
Yeah.
As an old-time X-Men reader, as soon as I saw the Unholy Three, 8-Man, Catman, and Birdman, I was like, oh god, no, I hate these jabronis. They're like the worst.
Yeah, but we didn't really get them a whole lot.
We are also introduced to Matt Murdock's horrible girlfriend, Heather Glenn.
Oh, her. She was... Yeah, that was not a good time for Daredevil.
No.
At least Elektra was a step up, as she came with a whole list of problems. I think she came with more problems than Heather. Personally speaking, if I had the chance of having a relationship with Natasha Romanoff, I would do so every day of the week. I don't care if your name is Heather.
The fight with Deathstalker, I'd say, was about 10 pages.
Right, and it's just a great action display going on there. 100%.
The death scene of Deathstalker was just incredible.
Right.
Hold on.
You can spotlight yourself.
No.
Okay. How's everyone? Okay.
So right there, he gets caught in the tombstone and cuts himself in half.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. We need to do like a slideshow. I need to get a slideshow for the next part.
Yeah.
Click on your face. There you go. No, that's how you get out of it.
I forgot to do the slideshow. I barely ever do the zoom ins. So I thought it was a solid issue. It had a lot of action and kind of gets you into what Frank Miller's style is going to be, where it's gritty, it's dark, and I don't really think Daredevil had been up to this point.
Right. And that's really speaking on what the next issue is, because also the next issue starts off in a courtroom, okay? So Daredevil is really trying to get his defendant off, and the judge is like, they got to be in jail. Obviously, Daredevil always has an edge when someone is innocent because he can hear their heartbeat. Now, that is breaking so many laws, but it's also like a cool way of doing so. So after that, Daredevil's going out and about, and people get hired to kill him. We're also introduced to Turk in here.
Yes, my favorite ancillary character, Turk.
Okay, do you want to speak about Turk and gush over the dude? Because he was awesome in the Netflix show. We can talk about that.
Well, he also appeared in Dark Knight.
Yes.
Dark Knight Returns. For some reason, Frank Miller loves bringing this character with him. So I don't like the speech impediment Frank gives him in this, where it's like, Mifta. It almost sounds like Mr. Sinister from Hellions.
Yep.
Turk and Josie's bar, basically appears in everything Frank does. I don't know why, he has this, love affair for these characters in that bar, but Turk is just such the worst hoodlum character, and he always screws up. Constantly, never-ending screws up.
Yeah, he's kind of a klutz, but I love the effort that he puts in every single time he gets hired. He's almost like Batroc in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's literally what I would compare him to. He's exactly like Batroc the Leaper. Overall, this issue was also very filler because it's segueing in what's next to come with Bullseye. really coming in. So Natasha is back, and Bullseye is not happy.
That cover for 160 with him choking out Natasha with the blow dryer.
Yeah, that's awesome. So 159 is very filler. It's part of like the run. I would skip over it, but if you just really want to complete it, it's great. You're not missing much except for the introduction of Turk, which is a very big key in this run. Get it before it's on Comic Tom's radar. I'm just saying. Get it before he's on the Key Collector app. You heard it first here. But yeah, oh my gosh, this omnibus is heavy. But yeah, that's Daredevil 160, and he's getting big screen. He's getting choked out by a blow dryer, and just Bullseye is having a great time.
This is the most sadistic Bullseye that we get.
Well, until Bendis.
Yeah, well, at least in this run, we start seeing like Bullseye being actually like a way better villain than he'd been portrayed to up to this point.
Right, because right now they're like giving him an edge and they're giving him some intelligence. So Bullseye really wants to kill Daredevil, right? Because everyone wants to kill Daredevil. So what he's doing is he wants to take Black Widow hostage, so that'll draw out Daredevil and he will be able to kill Daredevil. That's like his statement mission is, I'm going to hurt Daredevil. If you guys think he wants to hurt Daredevil by now, I think you're doing it right. But yeah, so they're fighting, right? He comes into her home and they start fighting, and he knocks her out by throwing his Bullseye little star, his ninja star, at the chandelier, and it falls down onto Black Widow. Okay, which is really cool because it's like the whole Sia song was like singing in my head. I wanna swing from the chandelier. My album is dropping soon, but anyway. But this is a good period for Marvel. X-Men were good. Byrne, Fantastic Four, Leighton, Iron Man, New Mutants were starting. Yeah. Sienkiewicz didn't come in until the mid 80s. It started Bob McLeod.
Oh yeah, McLeod and Claremont. Yeah, because Sienkiewicz came in, I want to say around issue 16.
Right. So Heather is right now, she's at a gravestone for someone for her father, right? And Matt is there, and I don't know why Matt is just like continuing to like be so distant. He's being like very distant, and for some reason the only time he wants to be with Heather is whenever she's kidnapped.
He's got to white knight it.
Yeah, he's definitely white knighting it. So he's like smashing in the dark and then just doing whatever he does. So that's like his weird relationship with Heather, because she like came with so many issues for Matt to even have the stress to handle, because he also has to run a law office.
We're also getting a lot of Ben Urich in this issue.
Yeah, and I think in 163 we're gonna get a lot of Ben Urich, and that's the prelude to my favorite book, 164. Which I will talk about, Dan, whether you like it or not.
No, I have a lot to say.
Oh, of 164?
Yes.
Dude, I know that book by hand, bro. But Daredevil gets pissed because there's a hit out for Natasha, and he put the pieces together that Bullseye has put out a hit for him. So Daredevil goes to Josie's and beats everyone up because, if you're going to drink at a bar, you might as well beat everyone up in there. So that's
including Turk.
And yeah, well, Turk's okay. Turk's very okay. So that's essentially that's essentially 160, which is a great issue. This is introducing us to Bullseye, who is yet to come. And then at 161, Dan, I'll turn that back over to you.
So 161, Turk inadvertently leads Daredevil to Mr. Slaughter, who put the hit out on Daredevil. And basically leads Daredevil right to him, and of course Slaughter starts yelling at him. Daredevil beats the shit out of the goons, and then we have Daredevil trying to save Natasha on a roller coaster. But it's not Natasha, it is a dummy made to look her. No heartbeat, and Daredevil knows her heartbeat. So he doesn't fall for the trap Bullseye set. And Natasha frees herself, starts taking out the goons, and then we have Daredevil beating the shit out of Bullseye.
Yeah, that's gonna piss him off for like later down the road.
He mentally breaks down Bullseye.
Right. And then Bullseye gets arrested, and he gets very mad. And then this is a great issue. I really love this issue, especially because we get like a lot of moments, and we're starting to learn more about Daredevil's abilities. Think about like the new readers that are coming on to Daredevil, because Miller's on the book, and you have a brand new artist, right? You have to kind of like organically weave in all of his abilities, his acrobatic skills, his law firm, his ability to hear the heartbeat, which I think is really cool. And you're also elevating a villain like Bullseye. I'm sorry, I have the hiccups right now, and that's just like not doing me any favors.
And again, Daredevil was like a B/C list character at this point, about to be canceled.
Right, until Miller came on the book. So then in the volume, we skip over 162 because that is a filler issue by someone else. I don't remember who it was. I've read it before. I'm pretty sure I have it in my collection, but it's underneath 8 other long boxes, so I will not be getting it out. I could read this whole run in floppy, but it's like like my long boxes are stacked up like on top of each other. So it's like I have a lot of long boxes. I'm going on like my 12th soon, is about to be full. So I'm.
Oh, it was Steve Ditko doing the art on it with Michael Fleischer.
Oh, R.I.P. to both of them.
Yes. Yeah, definitely a filler issue
with Steve Ditko.
Yes. So 163, interesting issue.
Yeah. Daredevil battles the Hulk and gets his ass kicked, and he gets put into a coma. So the Hulk is in New York, okay? So obviously Daredevil wants to find him first, and which he does, okay? He's swinging through in his suit, and he sees Bruce Banner, who is already transformed as the Hulk, and he's there as Matt Murdock to help him. Okay, but yeah, the Hulk just like throws him and knocks him out. So when he starts leaving, right, Daredevil, like, he switches it up, you know, and he ends up going back into Daredevil to stop the Hulk. He changes like on the go, kind of like how, if you guys have ever seen The Incredibles, how like they take off their suits and like just the Incredible sign is right underneath their chest. Or like in that Superman movie a while ago, how he just like
spin.
Yeah. So that's what happens. He magically turns into Daredevil. He changes in the open air, which why people don't see him is like kind of weird. And he's battling the Hulk, and the Hulk picks up this giant rock and just drops it on his head. Okay, now that leaves Ben Urich to question who Daredevil is, right? Because he's in the hospital, and that whole time Ben is like, this could mean something, which it does. So Ben is like now going under the investigation of Daredevil, and in 164, which is the best Daredevil story of all time, in my opinion, I think that this is the number one issue out there.
This, in my opinion, also is the definitive origin issue, much like Year One was for Batman.
Right. And this issue really has changed my life. Like, I don't think I've ever had like a comic book stand out to me this much than this issue. And even though it's a recap of the origin, it's a very modern take on it. The reason why I say modern is because in every Daredevil run you're gonna have to recap their origin, except this one just does it in a way that has stuck throughout the years.
Especially with Ben calling him out, he's like, "What's this file say?" And he's like, "I can't see."
Yeah, that Ben Urich is a clever little boy. He puts the pieces together, and then Daredevil tells him like that we recapped the whole origin, and that's like a segue into everything. And the dialogue as Matt as a kid growing up with his father is honestly, I cry every time I read this issue. Every time I'm having a bad day or like I'm in a very depressed mood, I will go back and read this book.
That's weird because that's a very depressing issue. I mean, it gets good near the end, but like the story in between is just with his dad and everything is just.
Well, rough. I find it comforting. We all do things when we're depressed.
Yeah.
At least this is. Do you watch what?
I watch Big Trouble in Little China when I'm depressed. It makes me laugh.
Sometimes I'll put on like an old Big Bang Theory episode. I don't know. I find that show to be hysterical up until Howard got married. That's when it just started going downhill. Holy crap, I'm tired. So you were recapping the Daredevil's origin. We all know it a million times, right? We recap how he was blinded, you know, his history with his dad, how his dad died, how he learned to box, how he learned to hear people's heartbeat. You even get a retcon of the yellow suit, which was a major throwback, because if you're an existing Daredevil fan, this is a nod to you guys, right? So Rod, I am talking to you, sir. I hope he doesn't see that, but
the scene with his dad where he's like, "This is for you, Matt."
Yeah, he said, "This one's for you, Dad." And he's like standing over a body. Yeah, the fixer. So, and then that story concludes, and then it says next, in the arms of the octopus, which
the end of this issue though had the big part where he's sitting with Yerk, sitting there with Matt. He's like, "I know what the story means to me. This is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do." He lights a cigarette and then lights the file on fire.
Yeah, which that was a great moment. I'm so sorry I skipped that over. I really need to stop doing a show every single day of the week, but and I did one this afternoon. I did like just a random show, which I probably should take that time to do a power nap, but it was fun. I'm sorry?
Burnout is bad.
Yeah, I'm like at that point where it's like I'm like we got 3 more issues, Brandon.
So Arms of the Octopus is the next one. And we once again have Daredevil going to a pool hall, start roughing people up.
That's like his MO right now.
It happens
whenever
a lot.
Daredevil has a bad day, he eats, drinks, sleeps, and goes to Josie's to beat people up.
And then he goes to Heather's office where he's saying like all the crooked stuff that her company's up to, that her dad was running. Of course, she doesn't believe him. He takes off. Dr. Octopus eventually gets involved in this, and another fight that Daredevil has no business being in with the villain.
Yeah, if it was very weird to see Dr. Octopus in this book, because I don't know, I don't think that it was his place. I don't know. I felt very indifferent about it. There's like things I liked, but I also didn't like. I think this is Frank Miller saying, I just want to do something cool.
The fight scenes where he has like the traces of Daredevil jumping through the arms, like the shadow images, I thought was really cool.
Right, and that's really like the biggest highlight of this story is just the images of Daredevil. The story in and of itself is great, you know, as he's like getting drowned by Dr. Octopus. I thought like that scene, especially for me, was great because you'd have the heartbeat going across the page, you know, and that's something that Frank Miller's really pushing in here. And when he gets out, he really takes it to the next level. You get like a cool little Spider-Man appearance for a very brief time, which you got to have Spider-Man in here when you're doing this story.
And then we have Matt picks Heather over Natasha, and Natasha leaves town.
Yeah, and she like sees him in like through the window, like she's spying on them, and they're about to make out, and she's just like seeing them about to make a home movie. I'm sorry, but that's probably what happened. I'm sure Matt Murdock has done that. You know, I'm sure if you recorded it with Matt Murdock, I don't think he would know.
Well, I was trying to think if camcorders were around during that time.
Just have like something rolling. I don't know. What's up, Sheena? That's my BFF.
Hey, Sheena. How are you?
That's my BFF. I'm flexing on everyone that Sheena is my BFF. It is a flex.
So I know, like, up to this point, we kind of sound like not excited about this book. It could be because we're both tired, but like, very much like, again, if you're not familiar with his work or the like how good it was back then, like, go back and read it and like actually look at the pages. It's really incredible. It really is. And this isn't even his best work yet. He's still kind of finding his way.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of this stuff is a lot of things about this book is just throwing in what is cool, right? What can I do to showcase my artwork? And eventually, right, and I think 168 was the biggest turning point of this whole series because that was when we kind of slowed down the pace of this run. And I know, like Dan said, we sound very unexcited. I am like, I am really, if I close my eyes right now, will not catch me until 5 o'clock tomorrow evening. But I have to do a show then. I'm going to be on Comic Gory, so I have to be awake. Wait, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's the 17th, right? Yeah, I will be on Comic Gories next week.
I'm on Tuesday with Morbius and No Good Comics, so I got 3 shows this week.
I have 7.
Whew. So the next issue, 166, I think it's one of the darker issues with Gladiator as the villain.
I like the gymnastics in the beginning. That was like really cool. Just like seeing him training.
Oh, that's Frank Miller going, look at this. Look at the art I can do.
He said, look what I could have done with Dick Grayson.
Oh God. Oh, George Perez, I think, had Dick Grayson at this point.
Yeah. He did. Stop flexing all over the place. You know what? I'm sorry. You can't help it.
You know what? Like in Ronin, Ronin was incredible. Like that is a book that I don't think enough people have read, and that's.
I haven't. I've looked at the pages of them, but I haven't necessarily like sat down to read them, bro. When I tell you, I have. What do I have? I have East of West sitting right here. I have the New Mutants Omnibus. I have Spawn Compendium. I have this Omnibus. I'm Uncanny X-Men Omnibus. Oh, and in the Invincible Compendium 3. And I'm just like, oh.
Oh, believe me, I get it. Like, I finally got my read pile down to a manageable level. I still got to finish reading Chikacabra before Wednesday.
Does this look manageable? See, I don't know if you can see it.
That's a good week.
Ignore my messy clothes on the floor.
Yeah, it's fine. Like,
yeah, I'm sure if I run out. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna do laundry today. Okay. But yeah, one. And soon I'm gonna be reading all new Wolverine 2. Thank you so much for reminding me.
That's what she's here for.
That's exactly what she's here for. That she's literally the reason why I bought the omnibus. Like I don't think I've ever spent $65 on a girl before. No, I'm kidding. I didn't spend on fee, but I don't think I've done that since I was, yeah, a few years. It's been a few years, but oh my gosh. But yeah, this issue with Gladiator. No, not Gladiator.
It's Gladiator.
Gladiator. I'm thinking of Gladiator from the Shi'ar Empire. I don't know why.
No, not Mohawk Boy.
No, not the biggest douchebag in the cosmic energy, the cosmic force.
Who's bigger douchebag, him or Namor?
I have to go Gladiator. Because at least Namor leaves comics for like 20 years at a time, whereas Gladiator is just a constant push. Oh, Full Mental Alchemist will be on that stack too. I'm getting very sleepy, and you telling me to read more books is not helping. Like,
so about Gladiator, just a little thing. So this dude's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
he thinks he's a Roman gladiator and that he is basically in the gladiator pits.
Right.
He's got saw blades on his wrist. Like, he just has like weird breakdowns. And when he's fighting Daredevil, he like looks up and he sees a statue of Caesar with the thumb down, and he starts freaking out.
Yeah, I thought Gladiator is like a very weird character. I'm just like, why? I don't know. This issue, especially to me, was very, I don't know, cringy. But the last part, like right after he sees the thumbs down, he just starts going crazy. He grabs he uses trench. He just starts like stabbing the shit out of everything, you know. Daredevil
Yes.
ends up grabbing it and just whacks him in the head, which is cool. And then he just like does his martial arts shit, and it was a lot of fun. But that's really that issue, and like each issue so far is like a different fight scene. I think that they were very off in what they were doing because the next issue says next Daredevil and the Punisher. However, the Punisher is not in the next issue.
Yes.
Like they had an unused cover of Daredevil in that. The next issue is written by David Michelinie. And I feel like this issue was David Michelinie just has so many words to say about Daredevil, and this is his one shot to do it. That's everything I've got from that. I was like, oh geez. But it's still by Frank Miller, Klaus Janson. So it was supposed to be the Punisher. It's not the Punisher. This is the Mauler, so I understand the confusion. They kind of mean the same thing. But
yeah, I mean, it was a weird kind of character, like why he wanted revenge.
yeah,
Computers took his job.
yeah.
They took our jobs.
They literally sounded like a 3-year-old who got laid off. Like, I'm sorry, I got laid off in the pandemic. I'm not gonna like go in and call and go on a rampage, because I got laid off. Like, oh my gosh, the pandemic's taking over. What am I gonna call myself? The COVIDs? No.
Frank has no problem killing villains in this. He is perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, I feel like he's just like I feel like every character he wanted to invent died. Like even Elektra was created to die, but because the fans loved her, she was brought back by editorial. That's like my number one issue with this Daredevil run is every character is just doomed to die around Matt.
And Matt is like the when Frank starts writing it, he's a horrible, horrible dude at times.
Yeah, which I like a lot better than what David Michelinie and Roger McKenzie were doing with him.
Very much so.
Because he's so confused with them. Like, I think, especially with Heather and Black Widow. I'm sorry, but I would still take Black Widow any day of the week.
So that was the last issue of this run. Frank takes over writing in 168. And that's when like he gets to do whatever he wants. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how much he had to fight to get writing and art on it, but because back then that was not heard of. You didn't do that.
Right. Well, Roger McKenzie was already on his way out the door. And this is when David Michelinie was going over to Iron Man.
Yes, I remember his run.
You were reading that off the shelf, were you?
Late end Michelinie, where like Armor Wars and all that crap. When he got the Scarlet Centurion right after Denny O'Neil left the book.
Okay. Yeah.
So like I started in 85, 86, somewhere around there.
Okay, so you're old.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I am old.
Yeah, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me.
You are. Anytime you need a reminder. I'm kidding, Dad. You are still beautiful.
Overall, like, what would you rate this volume?
I would still give it a 9. It still makes for a lot of good stories. The action sequences are phenomenal as well. So I'm still gonna give it a 9 out of 10. It's just simply because like just the way that Frank Miller is able to capture like the line work. It's just like the space in this book, which has been a theme of this show so far, is how Frank Miller is able to capture space. I'm putting it at a 9.
For me, it has its flaws. Like the art is exceptional, and you have your 2 issues I feel are standouts in it. I'm probably around a 7.5. Like, I know the next volume, I'm not going to be able to shut the fuck up because that's peak Miller.
Peak Frank Miller. Oh my gosh, the next volume. Like, I'm already looking at it, and I'm just like, yo. We have a lot to talk about, and I still don't own a 168. That's like the only book that it's like on my wish list.
I had a 9.8, and I sold it after I had lost my job with Barnes & Noble because I started freaking out about how long it might be till I got a job. I sold that. I sold my 181.
If anyone has a dupe that they want to A-OK, I'm very affordable when it's an A-OK.
Are you looking for it raw or graded?
Raw. I don't care.
I come across them raw like every now and again.
I'm sorry.
Especially the death of I run across them raw. I've actually run into more of the death of Elektra's more than her first appearance ones.
Yeah, I have the death of Elektra. I was like, I think that's like a very high grade copy. I'm more of a raw guy, even though I have a slab
certain
behind me.
keys like I will get graded ones of.
Right. Like this obviously for me is something that I was very glad to buy graded. Even though I can't tell you how many times I've read his first appearance, but you look at it now and it's a great book. It's beautiful. And it's a nice little 9.4 that hopefully will turn into a yellow label one day with Marv Wolf and Sig on it.
I'm very big on like I will flip current books if they hit a certain price point. Like my moderns, like if they hit a certain price, I will flip them and try and buy Silver Age with them.
Right, like if you had an Ultimate Fallout.
Keys.
So if you had like an Ultimate Fallout number 4, would you sell it, or like an Into the Spider-Verse number 2?
Oh, I already sold my Edge of Spider-Verse number 2. I had a 9.8. I sold that for $500.
Dude, you could get that close to 1,000 now.
But this was 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't quite at that point, but still, like, I had 100 into it total. So
right. What did you buy with that money?
Actually, I paid off a credit card.
Nice.
So that was what I spent it on.
There you go.
So I don't per se speculate, but I have. If it hits like long-term spec, I guess like Image 1s, I'll buy almost every Image 1, just because I know a lot of them are long-term holds. And like, if they hit a certain like that Batman Damn number 1 because of Batman's dick, it hit almost $200 raw, and I'm like, fuck it, it's gone.
Yeah, like I feel like if you're doing that right now, obviously like there are books that we all have that we just no matter what the price is, we will keep, unless there's like a dire like emergency, right? Which you should have money for anyway. But if you're like if I was ever in like a crisis and I had to sell this book, right? I could probably get $850 for it now. I would do it in a heartbeat if it meant being like, putting my life first, because they're still gonna be there. But
if I had a giant size X-Men number 1, that holds so much like joy for me in that book that I don't think I could get rid of it.
Right.
Like Spider-Man 121, The Death of Gwen Stacy, that's like another grail that I've wanted and I don't think I'd get rid of.
Right. I sold my first appearance of Joaquin Torres in that 1/25 variant, the Steve Epting. Batwing is, I believe, the proper.
Soon we'll have Batwang Returns.
Batway. Yeah, whenever Brian Azzarello decides I want this to happen. But yeah, I had that Sam Wilson Captain America 3 in that variant, and I sold it for $100 just because I didn't care for it, and if someone wants to spend that money, and I bought it for like $3, like when I first started collecting. So it was a complete accident, but we all speculate a little bit,
Yeah, like the stuff that gets optioned for movies, you'll see on Key Collector. Go ahead, flip it. Like Bitterroot number 1, I don't think it's going to get higher.
Yeah.
Than it is right now.
Right, and I think Key Collector has driven up the market like so obnoxiously high.
Well, between them and CBSI, CBSI with Mr. Bolo,
right?
It's the same shit. Like, it's almost like there's an Illuminati driving these books. Like even stupid ones. Like when everybody thought Thor was Rosalind, the Shield agent Rosalind. I can't remember her last name. Her
Rosalind
first appearance. Yes, everybody started buying up that book, and it dried up and drove the price up, only for them to find out, it was Jane Foster the whole time.
Right.
I had a good laugh over that. Bless you. Bless you.
I think it was the first time I ever sneezed on a live stream. But thank you. Yeah, I bought my Fantastic Four 94 first Agatha Harkness for $15. It's very mid-grade, but everyone is like speculating Silver Surfer 3, Silver Surfer 3, Silver Surfer 3. And I was like, I would always tell people, like, it's not happening, right? But the fact that that book drove up to $1,500 raw, or like at some crazy number, is like beyond me. Because like, yeah, Mephisto is cool, but he's not MCU ready, not yet.
Well, even the West Coast Avengers, the book with the pale vision, I'm just like,
it's temporary.
Yeah, like, and again, make money while you can. Like, if you bought that in a dollar bin, don't hesitate. Like, list it. You got 24 hours to hit peak money on it, and then after that, the market floods.
Right. Like, yeah, sell that if you have it, right? If someone is willing to pay you the money now, I don't sell it through eBay because I don't want my contributions to be to that app. But if I'll hit up a homie and say, hey man, like, did you want this? Because I know you like this book or something, or like they'll hit me up and say, hey, do you have this? I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll sell it to you for like, and I'll always sell under the eBay prices. Like don't get me wrong, like, and that's like the thing about key collectors. Like, if I'm ever selling a book, I'll like take what I think the grade is and just like dummy it down $30 or $40.
Yeah, I mean, again, like speculation. I'm not huge on it. I'm not one of those guys who goes to the store every Wednesday and just cleans them out.
Right.
Because that's just dickish.
Yeah.
I'll pick up one, maybe a second copy.
Right.
But like for the most part, like Daredevil 25 with Elektra, I was just like, nah, like I'll pick up, 2 copies and then that's it. That's all I need.
Right. I'm just admiring like how beautiful this looks in the Mylar. Like I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, this is like so cool to Mylar. But anyway, I'm sorry.
I just remember that run, like it was Portasio on that and then Jim Lee on the other X book, and like
this was by both of them. This is by Byrne, Lee, and Portasio.
And was it
but this one was done by Portasio. Bishop was Portasio's character.
And then you had Mark Silvestri also at one point on the book.
Right. Yeah, this was 100% Will's Portasio. 1991. But yeah, this one was 100% Will's. Jim Lee and Byrne were not on it, but they were on the previous one, which was the kickoff of the new team. Well, the old.
Yeah, I think it was a gold team and blue.
Yeah. But yeah, next week, the show.
Or
next
2
week
weeks from now.
Or 2 weeks. The next show, which will be in 2 weeks, we'll be talking about 168 all the way until probably if I'm estimating 176.
Yeah, I gotta look it up, but I think it's like 176.
177 maybe because it's firsthand.
Oh God! Oh, stick.
We're gonna get some stick, yo. Okay,
yeah.
Anyway, so that's gonna be on my show. I'm sorry that I didn't have a lot of energy today, but it was still a fun conversation.
It's all right. Like, again, this was one of the books where, like, it's interesting when you start seeing an artist kind of finding their rhythm.
Right. But the next volume is definitely the one that you will see our Daredevil fanboys really kick in.
I think we're at a good point to stop. I want to thank everybody for joining us and watching. In 2 weeks, we'll be on Brandon's channel doing the next volume. And you can find me Tuesday. Follow my Instagram, and I'll have the link and everything for when I'll be on with Morbius and No Good Comics, talking old readers versus new readers, and it's a problem in the community right now. And Thursday, you can find Brandon and myself on Tag Team Thursday. Wednesday, I will be doing Chicacabra at 9 p.m. on my channel for Ink Panels Graphic Novel Book Club.
Oh my gosh. And I am so tired. So
Take a nap.
tomorrow I'm going to be on Comic Gories. Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be on Comic Gories. On Tuesday, what am I doing on Tuesday? I'm doing something on Tuesday. No Hall of Fame, Hall of Shame, because Ryan is in the middle of finals, and I want to give him the space to do so. Also, you guys see, I can't run a show like this. But, yeah, old readers versus new readers should be interesting. I 100% agree. I feel like that I am one of those toxic old readers, except I try not to be. Right?
You,
like every
you
time
don't realize you are, though, until like you start thinking about going, all right, why do they love this versus why do I not?
Yeah, it's like the Joker book, right? Yeah, it's like the Joker book that Tinian is doing. It's like for a lot of people, this is their introduction to Joker, right? But for me, it's like you're retconning the Killing Joke over and over and over again, and I don't like it. I like Gilliam March's like art style, but I don't like how there's not like any additions being made to their relationship. When
I'm more
James
interested about
Tinian
the Gordon part.
I'm sorry.
I'm more interested in the Jim Gordon part of it than
yeah,
the Joker
but you
part.
didn't get any in the last issue. You got nothing.
Francavilla is doing issue 5 though, the interiors, and I'm happy about that.
Where has that guy been? He hasn't done anything in years.
He does covers.
Yeah, like you know, a lot of stuff I'm not I'm excited. I'm always excited for new comics. You know, like I feel like I'm one of those older readers that's like I'm still excited, but I'm also very cautious. Like with DC's Infinite Frontier, I am very cautious because I know that something is going to happen. And I know that the books on the shelves now are going not to have the same creative teams this time next year.
I like Josh Williamson.
I don't like him as a henchman for Infinite Frontier, though. I like him on The Flash. Yeah. Justin is loved by older readers and vibes hard at them. But he's technically a new reader, right? But
yes,
at the same time, he's like readers, older readers, you know, like I'm still a new reader, so it's like new for me, right? So I love it, you know. Which
oh god, that's not happening.
Yeah, see, I'm the same way. See, Marvel is fucking up in two ways right now. Heroes Reborn is shit, and Amazing Spider-Man is even shitter. I'm sorry, but
I like Squadron Supreme, just not Jason Aaron's.
I like Jason Aaron doing Doctor Strange again. Put him back on Doctor Strange. Give him Conan again. Please get the dude. Let him write King Conan and let him just do that.
Bring Southern Bastards back. I want an end to that fucking book.
Southern Bastards will never come back until Jason Latour's name is like removed from comics.
Oh shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, oh fuck, how did I forget about that? Jesus. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, you're not getting Southern Bastards. You're not. See, what's his name? Jason Latour got #cancel cultured because he's a very bad boy. Flash, Heroes Reborn need to go away. Exactly. And Amazing Spider-Man needs a new creative team, and I'm so frustrated. Oh my gosh. Dan, did you read that king-sized bullshit?
Yeah, I just read it.
What did you think of someone's little 180? That was teased the whole arc, the whole run.
I don't.
You haven't had your drink yet. You can't talk.
Well, no, like I don't. It's the same thing. I keep going, why? Does the Squadron Supreme always lean this hard into the Marvel's Justice League thing? They've always been analogs of the Justice League. Like basically, there's nod and wink of like, haha, yeah. They're not the same, but they are.
Yeah, they're very much the same.
But I would recommend if you're gonna ever read Squadron Supreme, read the one by Mark Grunwald.
Right.
That basically would have been bigger had Watchmen not come out the same fucking year.
Speaking of Justin, I feel like we said his name too many times and he popped in the chat. But yeah.
We were just talking old readers, new readers, and Flash by Night kind of excited to hear us talk about that subject, Justin.
And I kind of inadvertently apologize for sometimes being a douchey old reader, but I know I can be a jackass. But I don't try to be. It's just I see things and I don't try to. Yes, please give us Jed McKay, Amazing Spider-Man. Nick Spencer. I'm sorry, I can't. When you develop someone's character that's not supposed to be developed in the first place, okay? But let's say you are, fine. It's important in this run. Boomerang is important in this run, and he's doing good. I get it. Redemption for Boomerang. You know, you might as well redeem James Charles. Fuck it. Whatever you want to do it. It's important. But the fact that it's a complete 180, I am pissed.
So I never thought this run was going to last as long as it has.
Yeah, I thought Marvel would because I'm sure you have a whole chess team, a whole football team of Marvel writers that would want to do or draw Amazing Spider-Man.
That used to be the book that that in X-Men, if you were if you were a hot artist or creative team, they would put you on those two titles. And I have not seen it lately on
on Amazing Spider-Man. X-Men,
no.
I've seen it, but
X-Men now, but there was
I feel
time.
Well, you know what my whole theory is? In the early 2000s, X-Men was never allowed to be a good book because they didn't have the rights to them yet when they started the MCU. It's you can be our third best book, but you can't be better than Iron. You can't be better than Iron Man. You can't be better than the Avengers book. These books have to be our best.
Do you remember when the rumors came out? They're they're canceling X-Men because Fox owns them.
Yeah, and then they announced Uncanny by Matt Rosenberg. I was please, but yeah. But and that was bad. But Bendis' X-Men was not that good. But
I love Chris Bachalo's art though.
I love Bachalo. Bachalo's a fantastic artist, right? But Amazing Spider-Man right now is in a deal. It's the only thing that's in a deal. So it's you can't. That's just. I feel like they're giving it that treatment.
I mean, they need to put a top creative, even if you only gave them 6 issues. Because
who gets the money from the comics? Is it Sony or Marvel?
Marvel gets the money from the comics.
Then did they really screwing themselves?
Sony gets the merch, I think. Weirdly,
I love that Brandon's early 2000 is 2008, and to me it's 2001. I was born in 2001. Obviously, that's not early to me.
I remember there was that rumor that J. Scott Campbell was going to be doing interiors on Amazing Spider-Man. It never happened.
J. Scott Campbell needs to do interiors in his life because he needs to fix up whatever he's doing.
Well, I mean, he realized he could make more from variants and doing covers than he was doing interiors.
He's a jackass. But I think we all know that now that he's a jackass, and I will not buy another J. Scott Campbell cover.
I haven't in a while. I think the last one I bought was the Magic cover that he did for X-Men 4 or Uncanny X-Men number 4. It was a while back.
I think the last one I did was Spider-Woman number 1.
You got some strong feelings there, V.
We've spoken about it at length.
Yeah. Okay, so it is almost an hour. I got to start getting ready for work. Thank you, everybody, for joining us again. We will be on Brandon's channel next. And, of course, come check out Morbius, Justin, and I on Tuesday at 7:30. Justin will either have the link up or I will. And Sheena, thank you for stopping by. Flash by Night. Everybody else, I don't even know who's still here. Unholy Simeon, I'm glad to see you here. I mostly interact with you on Twitter, not Twitter, Instagram. Again, thank you. Bye-bye.